World of Warships. What do I think about World of Warships? Well, World of Warships has to be what I consider, in a way, a time classical game that has been around since its development. After World of Tanks took off in early 2010s, Wargaming wanted to make a game that would be similar to it, but in a different aspect of the way war is done out, i.e. the sea. What did they do? They basically made World of Warships, an early series game that basically took off as a idea, but then became a thing. What do I mean by this? Well, World of Warships has been around for some time, not as long as World of Tanks, mind you. I wouldn't be some World of Tanks player to say that, but what I'm saying is that World of Tanks and World of Warships are completely different, mind you. And when I play World of Warships, I feel like everything changes because of how you need to use strategy and cunning thoughts and actions to basically change the course of an entire battle. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that World of Warships, in its own right, has basically became what I would consider as a time classical piece of gaming that basically, if you were to look at it, like say a completely game, or some random gamer looks at this game and they think, oh wow, this is boring, I wouldn't want to play this game. Well, you're wrong, my friend. Those who say that, they're wrong, because they're not looking at it through the scope of a strategic player. See, if they're not a strategic player, then that means they don't play certain games strategically. They either play it for stupidity or they just play it for fun. I'm not going to say stupidity because, again, that when you think about it, it's not really for stupidity. It's more for like the way you play like a savant is the word I'm looking for. So, what do I mean by this? What I'm saying is that, in a way, World of Warships has its own incentive to, like, do things when it comes to tactics. In terms of, like, tactics, World of Warships is pretty good in terms of tactics. And in terms of tactics, they are pretty good. So, to be honest, you're probably thinking, well, then why am I making a video about this if you're just going to sound like a fanboy about it? Well, I'm not. I'm saying that it's a good game. I'm saying that people should respect the game for what it is and not for what it looks like. As people always say, don't judge a book by its cover. Because if you judge it that quickly by its cover, then clearly something makes no sense to you. I'm a casual World of Warships player, and I don't see a problem with it. I think of it as fun. But to some others, it may not be the same thing. How do I explain this? So, World of Warships has its own way of doing tactics. Mainly how people generate these tactics and how they do it. Usually in like a standard game, depending, like if it's like a tier 5 or tier 6, let's just go with the tier 6. If this was all tier 6 battle, you would see how much of a stalemate it is between tier 6 ships, because if tier 6 ships were to duke it out between each other, there would be a lot of one-on-one kills, one-on-one ratio kills, which the game would probably be too fast. It would probably make it too fast for the game, and it would probably end the game right there, or shorten its lifespan of how fun it is. That's why certain battles are taken up a tier or lower tier. There are certain ships that do get outclassed, mainly destroyers. Destroyers have low health, and their low health and speed are kind of worrying. If you were to put tier 7 destroyers with tier 7 battleships, those destroyers would probably get destroyed within a matter of like a couple of seconds, not even minutes, not even like a minute into the battle. A battleship could just outclass it because of how much armor the battleship has, even though the destroyer has speed. Mainly, it is mostly due to the destroyer's speed. And what do I mean the destroyer's speed? I mean destroyers, there are different types of ships. There are 4 types. There's destroyers, there's cruisers, there's battleships, and then there's aircraft carriers. But if you want to get more specific, there's battle cruisers and light cruisers. Those are 2 different designs. Mainly, battle cruisers are more like battleships, but they are lightly armored and faster than normal battleships. They usually go under the battleship tree if they're like separate from regular battleships. Certain battleships will have like torpedo tubes. Those are battle cruisers. Battle cruisers again are the hybrid between battleships and cruisers. And so what do I say about that? Well, to be honest, this game has its fair shares of ups and downs. Mainly, there's been ups and downs between the community, but the community's been getting along pretty well. When I normally go into a game of World of Warships, I don't see toxic spam in the chat. Like, I don't see a bunch of toxicity spamming in the chat, which is good, mind you. You wouldn't want to see toxicity spamming in the chat, now would you? That would not make the game fun. To be honest, it would make the game have a very toxic community and a short lifespan. What am I saying out here? Well, in a reasonable sense, World of Warships has been kind of like my favorite game. I've been playing it recently, and I've been getting good at it. I've been getting better at it and understanding the tactics of it. Mainly because A, the game is fun, and B, of how understandable the game is and when it comes to punishing or rewarding players of how well they play. Usually in the beginning, like when you start out as a fresh noob player who doesn't know a single thing about how to play the game, you're gonna obviously run into like becoming a what we call a savant. Normally, I wouldn't make certain tactics, but here's the thing: I would do certain tactics just to be good or to be bad in general. But here's the thing. Certain tactics will work in this game, but certain tactics will not work in this game. Like ramming an enemy, yes, that's cool, maybe like if you're playing as an early tier battleship, but not in a later game. Because you're risking, ramming is only if you are the last person standing, or if you know that last ship is not stopping to turn around, or is literally not turning around for his own good just to save his own life. Rather, he's ramming you just so he can get a kill scot-free, rather than just focusing fire on you and easily surviving himself. See, the way I see it is that if you're trying to do what's called ramming is an old tactic that is in this game, but it's preferably wrong. Ramming in full contrast just makes the game not fun, depending on how you see it. And again, to many of you thinking, what am I saying? Well, what I'm saying is that if you intend to ram a ship knowing that he's not turning around, like, not turning around or, not doing anything about it, you know that he's not stopping just to, turn around or anything. He's basically just, not stopping until either you are dead or he's dead. Usually you want to stop that ship before he gets you. Normally in World of Tanks, when ramming is imposed, you don't die instantly, which is, I guess, a good thing. But if it's like a certain ship v ship kind of thing, depending on which ship you're talking about here, if it's a battleship on battleship, then yeah, you're gonna die. Both of you are gonna end up dying. Because if both of you die while ramming each other, that could technically be a teammate down and not out of action for you, but for the enemy team. But what does that mean? It means that if you intend to ram someone without knowing what consequences it will affect or who can it affect, you're going to run into some problems with your team. Mainly because if they see you trying to aimlessly ram someone without any form of thought or action, you're gonna get screamed at in the chat. Mainly because they think that these tactics are not worth it, they're not worth risking your life, and mainly because the simple tactic of ramming just doesn't work. It just cannot apply. Because in term, ramming is supposed to only be used as a last resort mechanic. It's a last resort if you're going up against a battleship who is low health, or if he's not stopping to turn around. If that battleship is not stopping to turn around and is willing to risk his own life just to ram you and only you and not turn away to save his own life, then he is clearly on a death wish. He has a death wish to be made here. That's what I'm saying. Usually in this game, you want to be mindful of who you're going for. Because if you're not mindful of who you're going for, you're going to see some problems. Mainly the fact that people are going to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Or, hey, maybe you should back off. Because usually you're going to see a lot of people realize, hey, you're not doing this right, or hey, you're being a complete idiot by going after a certain group. If you see a battleship or two, if you see two battleships that are not of your same level, then you're going to realize how screwed you are. What I suggest, if you are the smarter player, is to back off. Don't fight the player who you're going after. Because if you fight the guy who you think is gonna win your team, you're gonna be wrong. Because mainly you're gonna want to back off. You're gonna want to not fight an enemy battleship or cruiser. Because if they're together, you're gonna realize you're not only screwing yourself, but you're gonna end up ruining yourself and your team's victory chances. Mainly me, you're seeing right now that I am struggling because my ship is not meant to go frontline combat. It's meant to only fight close quarters if it needs to be. Right now, I'm getting pummeled because the enemy team decided to surround me. Because if the enemy team decides to surround me and take me out, then that's their best bet. Because to be honest, the North Carolina has the best guns. It has the best weaponry of all its class. To be honest, there's no stopping a North Carolina if you just let it have its free reign. You know what I'm saying? And see, there's my other mistake too. The fact that I went forward instead of stopping my ship. That's another mistake I made. That is on me. And I understand what mistake I did. So next time, if I ever have an encounter like this, I will make sure to back up and not screw this up. To be honest, this is how I perceive the game. When I see that this game is fun and it actually rewards you or punishes you for how you play, it actually makes you think on how you could change your tactics. However, some ships will serve your tactic. Do you like fast ships? There are cruisers and destroyers for you. Do you like ships that can do all-around things like Jack of Trades? Those are cruisers for you. Do you like ships that can dump torpedoes? Again, cruisers and destroyers. Do you like ships with high firepower but want to maintain a good speed? Then those are battle cruisers. You're going to want those. Or if you just want purely firepower, then battleships are your thing, because they carry good AA too. Certain ships will have certain disadvantages, like certain armor types will not work. Like, certain ships will have bad armor types, and so therefore, you want to be mindful of what ship you're going to choose. Like, this ship right here, the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought itself is it's an old ship. You probably already heard what the Dreadnought was. Probably back in like your World War I, or probably in like your world history class or something, of how they might have talked about the Anglo-German arms race, where the Britons and Germans built naval arms up, and they basically built up these Dreadnought class ships that were meant to carry superior firepower, and the next thing above it was super battleships. However, though, Dreadnoughts are expensive, mainly because of the guns they use. These giant naval guns that they go for are huge. And the thing is, they don't carry a lot of AA power when it comes to, aircraft. If there's aircraft attacking this would not survive because of how inadequate its anti-aircraft is. Hell, it doesn't even have anti-aircraft at all. Like, look. No anti-aircraft. It has no AA defense. Unlike a certain ship like the Ranger, it has AA defense against enemy aircraft. Like, as you can see here. or here, or here. It has good AA guns, and it has artillery guns too. Yes, its AA guns serves as artillery guns too. Surprising. But that's only if the ship gets in close quarters range. That's if like another enemy ship is trying to challenge it or destroy it. You're probably thinking, well, what's the point you're trying to get to? My point is, this game is good. My point is, this game has actually made the community happy because not only its connections with other games like Azure Lane or Transformers or other companies that want to make cool merges with them, like merging ships and whatnot with them. It's pretty cool how they make up these cool designs for cool ships. Like with Azure Lane, they added a special, they made the commanders the characters from Azure Lane, which is pretty cool, I find. Even though I don't have any of them, I think it's pretty cool how they did that. Or with Transformers, they not only made Transformer-like ships, but they also added the Transformers as commanders of these ships as well. My point is that this game actually just gets better and better the more you understand it. The more strategy you understand behind this game, the better you have a clearer judgment in what your moves and ideas can make of it. Only you can be the person who can change the strategy of the game and how you can shape the strategy. If you can shape the strategy of how the game is played, then I'd be surprised if you couldn't. I would be surprised if I could even have a clan, even though I'm already in one. And that's the best. And that's another thing too. You get rewarded for playing the game better than how you did. Like last time, I had the Dunkirk. I don't have it now anymore because it was on a rental. What that means is that Wargaming and the World of Warships, the whole World of Warships idea, what it does is that it rewards players for playing good. You play best with battleships, they will reward you with a rental battleship of a lower of 2 tiers lower or tier 6. Because that was what I've been getting recently, was a lot of tier 6 stuff, either of aircraft, either of like a certain ship. Mainly it was battleships because I'm more of like a battleship player than a cruiser or destroyer player. You don't see me playing the cruisers or destroyers. You see me playing the battleships a lot more. I'm more of a battleship player, not like a cruiser or destroyer player. I'm more of like that, especially with aircraft too. I'm like an aircraft carrier player too. But again, it's up to you on what you choose and what ship type you choose and how you play it. Me, I like to stick with what I stick with. You can stick with what you stick with. And to be fair enough, who knows? Maybe you can get rewarded for your efforts. Because they will reward you for your efforts. You get rewarded handsomely for your efforts. Not saying that Wargaming is the best at it, but they did a pretty good job at making this game more rewarding in terms of like how you play. Usually in this game, you're going to obviously want to have fun. Because this game is all about having fun too. But you could also see how fun it is by joining certain communities, like the Azure Lane community too. That game has been getting popularity too. And World of Warships community. Basically, World of Warships is like the best community place to start. It's like the best place to start if you want to have fun. Don't start with World of Tanks because, to be honest with you, World of Tanks, War Thunder, or World of Warplanes, they all suck trash. That's the whole point. That's the whole thing I'm trying to cut the chase to. Is that my opinion is that it is trash in a way. Why am I saying this? Because it's true. World of Tanks has been trash because of their unbalancing of certain vehicles. They can't balance certain vehicles because they feel like it's either not going to make it fun or it's going to make the game less fun of what it was, or it's going to make people leading to break their wallets. This game, however, doesn't. You can work through the tiers or you can buy certain premium vehicles. They make premium vehicles cheap too. Like you can purchase certain premium vehicles at a certain length or time, or I don't know, have it for a certain length or time. You basically are the master of what vehicles you can purchase. Because, to be honest with you, you can grind. That's the best thing about this game. It's grind friendly. Like, you can spend like an entire week and you probably would grind up to you probably wouldn't grind up fully, but you will learn something. The more battles you play, the more it adds to your skill and possible how you do. Because then wargaming will then reward you for your efforts, and if you've been around long enough, even to their anniversary events, you will get the best rewards possible, and I mean it. You as the player will be rewarded for just being there for longer. This game has been around for who knows how long. I can't remember exactly when the release date was for this game, even though I wish I could just put up a little thing and after video making and just do that. But to me, I'm not really a good video maker, so what can I say, you know? I'm just a YouTuber, not a video designer or anything like that. But to be frank and honest with you, I see this game for what it is. It's fun. It's awesome. It's not time heavy. You as the player can make the time to play this game. You can choose on how much time you can make for this game too. Like, this game isn't even hard. It's very easy, to be honest with you. Well, in a way it's easy, but when you get up there, it starts to get harder. Certain ships don't become combat ships. Certain ships will either become supportive or not supportive. Like the North Carolina, for example. It has good guns, good AA, but not good armor. It's not a battle cruiser, it is a battleship. It's that it's just not, you know, able to handle itself in a fight unless it's with an equal power ship of itself or even lower. That's the whole point of the North Carolina itself, because the North Carolina, like I said, is not a very powerful ship. It's very limited in its range of capabilities. To me, what I see of its capabilities is that it's more of a support battleship rather than an attack battleship. And that's another thing certain people don't get. Why do you not just go after them and non-stop aggro on them? That's another thing for another time. But to be quick on it, never aggro with a ship like this, because you never want to be on the receiving end of what happens if you do aggro. And I guess you could say that's all I have for today. I'm glad you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, because I've been checking a lot. A lot of you people who view my channel don't subscribe enough, so please subscribe if you are. And also, if you want, you can check out other channels I watch just on my free time to get inspiration to do these videos. And if you want, hope you enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.